Good afternoon, everyone. This is Rebecca, and on behalf of NT Maths Learning Group, I would like to do a short sharing with regards to Secondary 1 for operations. Without further ado, let's start. So there are some rules concerning order of operations, and it applies to integers, decimals, and fractions. And these rules are universal. So case 1, whereby an expression contains just addition and subtraction only, when an expression contains just multiplication and division only, we work the expression from left to right. That's the only sequence. However, when there are a few different symbols put together, say maybe addition and division, maybe subtraction and multiplication, maybe all 4 different symbols, then we have to follow something called a Bodmer's rule. What's Bodmer's? Bodmer's is actually an acronym, and the letter B here is used to signify brackets. Okay, so whenever you see brackets, you start with the brackets, followed by division. So you see the divide sign. After the brackets, after settling whatever that's in the bracket, we move on to whatever that needs division, followed by multiplication, followed by addition, and lastly, subtraction. This is also covered in primary 5. If you have remembered, order of operations. Yeah. So in secondary 1, what's new? Well, when we cover integers, we also get to cover negative numbers. And here are some rules that we need to remember. Adding the negative of a number means we subtract the number. Adding the negative of a number means we subtract the number. Okay, so in other words, if we have a number, say 5, okay, the negative of a number, so if I were to put down a number, is 5, the negative of a number becomes negative 5. So what do you mean by adding the negative of a number? Mathematically speaking, adding the negative of a number means we add a negative number. Okay. And this means subtracting the number. So whenever we have a plus sign, okay, that means we add, right? Next to a negative number, we will end up subtracting that number. Just remember this. So let's take a look at another example. 5. If we add negative 4 to it, this means that it is 5. Take away 4. We subtract 4. So that gives us 1. Let's give an example to it as well. Annie has $5. Okay, so this $5 refers to the 5 in the expression on top. She spends $4. So how much money does she have in total in the end? So total means that you have to add, right? So you add what she has to what she has spent. So 5 add to minus $4. So 5 add to minus $4 gives you 5 minus 4, which is 1. Let's take a look at another question. 18 add to negative 30. So when you add 18 to a negative number, you end up with 18, take away 30. And when 18 takes away 30, you get minus 12 or negative 12. Okay, why is there a negative sign there, you may ask? Because when whatever we subtract is actually more than what we have. Okay, so if I were to draw a number line, and I were to start at, say, okay, and let's say this is my 0, this is my 18. If I want to take away 30, that means I got to go backwards by 30. So from 18 all the way back to 0, it would be to take away 18 units, right? And how many more units do I need to take away in order to make up a total of 30 units? Now that would make another 12 units. And this would be negative 12. So I will end up at negative 12. Following that, 15 take away positive 12. So 15 take away positive 12 is none other than just 15 take away 12. This one is straightforward, 3. Okay, so if we add a negative number or we subtract a positive number, we'll always end up subtracting it. Let's take a look at some questions together. So we have 71 add to negative 47. Okay, if you add to a negative number, remember, we end up subtracting it. So we have 71, take away 47, and we will end up with 24. Next one, 147, we add to a negative 33. So when we add to negative 33, we subtract 33. So we have 147, take away 33, and we'll end up with 114. So far, so good. Now, third question, 120, add to a negative number, and we add to another negative number. So what happens? We have to take away 2 numbers, right? So 120, take away 24, take away 12. Now, we see two signs here. So let's go left to right. So 120, take away 24, you get 96, minus 12, and that's 84. The next one, 63, again, you take away a negative number and take away a second negative number. So if we put them together on the next line, it will be 63 minus 34 minus 18. And again, left to right. 29, take away 18. Answer is 11. Let's take a look at rule number 2 now. Rule number 2 says that when a negative number adds to another negative number, the answer is even more negative. So when we talk about a number line, the number moves left to the number line. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. Joe made a loss of $2. Okay, so if he made a loss of $2, in our mind, we will consider something like negative $2, right? Joe made another loss of $3, so that would be something like negative $3. So Joe's total loss is $5. So mathematically, we would write it as -5. So how do we end up with this -$5? How do we end up with this? Well, if we were to take -2 -3, that would give us -5. If it doesn't seem quite convincing, let's take a look at it on a number line. So we start from $0. Okay, 0. Joe made a loss of $2. So if you made a loss, that means you will have to go backwards by 2 units. Okay, so when we go backwards by 2 units, we will end up at -2. He made another loss of $3. So we got to go another 3 units down. 1. So he will end up at -5. 5 units to the left. Excuse me. So his total gain would be -2, take away -3, and that would be -5. In other words, we add the 2 and the 3 together, and we put a negative sign in front. Okay. Now let's try some questions together. So we have -1, take away 5. So we combine the 1 and the 5 together. That will give 6. And because both are negative, answer will be -6. The next one, -4, take away 6. So you go 6 units to the left from -4. So 4 and 6 gives us 10, but it's in the negative direction. So we have to put a negative sign in front. Third question, -25, take away 36. So again, both are negative numbers. As we subtract, both get even more negative. And let's take 25 plus 36, we get 61. Fourthly, -41, take away 72. Both will give you a negative value. Let's add 41 and 72. We'll get 113. Rule number 3 says that when subtracting the negative of a number, we are actually adding the numbers. Ha, sounds quite mind-blowing, but let's take a look at an example. So the temperature of England is 5 degrees Celsius in the day. In the evening, it is -3 degrees Celsius. What is the difference in the temperatures? So when we come across a word problem and we read the word difference, what comes to mind? Subtraction, right? Yes. And when subtraction comes to mind, it's always the larger value take away the smaller value. Which is the larger one here? So you have to ask yourself, which is the hotter temperature here? 5 degrees Celsius, yeah? So 5 degrees Celsius, we got to take away -3. Let's look at the temperatures along a number line. Maybe that might cause you to understand it a little better. So the temperature of England is 5 degrees Celsius. So we start off here, right? In the evening, it is -3 degrees Celsius. What is the difference? So if it's difference, we need to count, right? From 5 all the way down to -3, how many units are there? We might want to break this up into two parts. Okay, so the first part would talk about temperatures that are above 0 degrees Celsius. So from 0 to 5, we can see that there are 5 units of temperature or 5 degrees Celsius. So from 0 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius, the temperature would have gone up for 5 degrees Celsius. And next, we look at the temperatures that are below 0 degrees Celsius. So from 0 down to -3, you realize that it has gone by 3 units. So this is actually 3 degrees Celsius. So altogether, what is this range of temperature? You have 3 here, 3 units below 0 degrees Celsius and 5 units above 0 degrees Celsius. Add together, we will actually give you 8 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the difference in the temperature is actually 8 degrees Celsius. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so in other words, we could say that 5 take away -3 would give you 5 plus 3, which is 8. So when you subtract a negative number, you end up adding the numbers. Remember this is really key. Now let's take a look at other examples. 18 subtract -30, so minus minus. So when there are two subtraction signs, we add them together. 18 plus 30, we get 48. Next, 15 take away -12, we'll end up with 15 plus 12, which is 27. Let us try some questions together. So 35 take away -16. So the two subtraction sign can be rewritten as 35 plus 16. And that would give us 51. The next one, 81, take away -90, take away -5. So we rewrite this as 81 plus 90 plus 5. Left to right rule, 81 plus 90, 171 plus 5, 176. And question 3, 6 take away -9, take away -21. That would result in 6 plus 9 plus 21. So 6 plus 9, 15. 15 plus 21, 36. Rule number 4. Multiplying a positive number with a negative number actually ends up with a negative number. So let us take a look at an example. Ali makes a loss of $20 in his business every day. So how much would his earnings be after 3 days? So in 1 day, he makes a loss of $20. It's as good as saying -$20, right? So 3 days later, it would be 3 times the -$20. So that would be -$60. Okay, so his earnings would be -$60. In other words, 3 times of negative $20 will be negative $60. Multiplying a positive number by a negative number gives you a negative number. Let's try these questions together. All right, so negative 3 times 3. So remember to put down the negative sign first. And what we are left with next is 3 times 3. So this gives us 9. Next one, negative 6 times 4. So negative number multiplied by positive number, end up with a minus sign in front. Then we take 6 times 4, 24. Third one, we have negative 17 times 5. So answer is negative 85. And the last one, 24 multiplied by negative 9. So we have negative 216. After a while, you'll get the hang of these questions. The difference is just about changing the number. Now, rule 5. How about multiplying a negative number with a negative number? What do you think? If we look at the previous rule, positive number multiplying positive number with a negative number, we get negative, right? So if both negative, we end up positive. Okay, so take for example, negative 9 multiplied by negative 2. You see the two subtraction sign there? They combine to give you an addition sign. And we take 9 times 2, 18. Negative 6 multiplied by negative 7, we end up with 42. Let's try these questions. The same applies to division. So we have negative 16 divided by 4. Answer will be negative 4. 20 divided by negative 5. Answer is negative 4. 81 divided by negative 9. Answer is negative 9. 117 divided by 9. Answer is negative 13. Now, this is the one where you have the both negative sign dividing by each other. Answer will be positive, right? Yeah, so negative 3 divided by negative 3 is as good as 3 divided by 3. Negative 70 divided by negative 5. Answer is positive. We take 70 divided by 5. 14. Third one, a negative 168 divided by negative 12. Answer will be 14. And the last one, negative 192 divided by negative 8. Answer is 24. Now we come to the next part of the session where we take a look at some questions from past year papers. This is a 2-mark question where they ask you to evaluate 20 minus 5, add to negative 3. So the first thing that we need to do would be this. Okay, we can resolve addition of a negative number. So that would give us 20, take away 5, take away 3. Excuse me. From here, we'll work on left to right. So 20 take away 5, we have 15. Take away 3, we have 12. Next, we work out these without the use of a calculator. So for A, you realize that we have division sign and we have subtraction sign. Looks like we have to work this one out first. So we have negative 15 divided by negative 5. Okay, let's just pay special attention to the minus, divide by minus, right? So when we have a negative number divided by a negative number, answer will be positive, and we take 15 divided by 5, we will get positive 3. Positive 3, we copy down everything else that we didn't box up. Take away 10.1. So answer here will be negative 7.1. For the next question, wow, okay, looks like we have to use, we got to do brackets first, right? So if it's brackets first, most likely we have to solve whatever that is within here. So we have 2.5 multiplied by 10 minus 2. Okay, what's next? Looks like we have the negative, yeah. We take away a negative number, so that gives us addition, right? So 2.5 times 10 plus 2. What's next? Work out 2.5 times 10 through order of operations. That gives us 25 plus 2 equals to 27. Next, 689, take away 13 times 12 divided by 3 plus 147. Let's work on what's in the bracket first. So we have 689, take away 156 divided by 3 plus 147. What do we do next? Division. So 156 divided by 3, we get 689 minus 52 plus 147. Following that, left to right. And answer is 700. Oops. Sorry, this is supposed to be an addition sign. 784. Okay, let's take a look at some other questions. In the table below, it shows the temperature of in a number of cities at noon on a particular day in January. So we name the hottest city in January. Hottest city means that we need to find the temperature with the largest number. So which is the largest number here? We realize that it's 30, right? Yeah, and the city, Singapore. Not a surprise, right? Okay, now find the difference in temperature between Singapore and Beijing. So difference in temperature, what comes to mind is subtraction. In Singapore will be 30 degrees Celsius. Beijing will be negative 10 degrees Celsius. So let's find the difference. 30, take away negative 10. So we see subtraction of a negative number. We can rewrite this as 30 plus 10. So that gives us 40. So answer is 40 degrees Celsius. Next, we arrange these cities in order of their temperature, starting from the coldest. So coldest means that the number is the smallest. Look out for the negative sign. Moscow. Moscow is the coldest. Followed by Beijing. Vancouver. Vancouver is at 0. Rome at 9. And finally, Singapore. Next. The picture shows the temperature reading of 5 cities in different parts of the world on a particular day. Which city has the lowest temperature on that day? So again, let's look for the smallest number and if possible, any negative sign. So we have negative 18. This would be the one with the lowest temperature. So it will be city E. Next one, calculate the temperature difference between city C and city E. Okay, so city C and city E. Again, as I mentioned earlier, temperature difference means we take the higher temperature, subtract the lower temperature. So we have the higher temperature, take away the lower one, and that will give us 15 plus 18. And this will give us 33 degrees Celsius. Now, the next one. On the next day, the temperature of city A increases by 10 degrees Celsius in the morning and decreases by 12 degrees Celsius at night. Calculate the temperature of city A after these temperature changes. So we'll start off with negative 3 degrees Celsius. If it increases by 10 degrees Celsius, that means we take negative 3 plus 10, we have 7 degrees Celsius. And if it goes down by 12 degrees Celsius, that will be 7. Take away 12. Answer will be negative 5. So the temperature will be negative 5 degrees Celsius. Following this, let's take a look at some questions with regards to operations of fractions. So evaluate the following. 5 out of 6 divide by 3 out of 2. If you can remember, doing such division requires us to K, C, F. So KCF stands for keep. We keep the first fraction, so it remains as 5 out of 6. C stands for change. We change the division sign into multiplication sign. And F stands for flip. We flip 3 out of 2 to become 2 out of 3. So from here, we can do our division. We divide 2 and 6 by a common factor of 2. And our answer will be 5 out of 9. Next. For question B, you have multiplication and addition. So let's do the multiplication portion first. For multiplication, let's see what we can how we can simplify. So between 4 and 8, we can divide both numbers here by 4. 4 divided by 4, we get 1. 8 divided by 4, 2. 5 and 15, we can divide both sides by 5. And as we multiply, we will end up with 1 out of 6. Copy down, 7 out of 12. What's next? When we add two fractions together, we always make sure that the denominators are the same. So let's find equivalent fraction of 1 out of 6, which is 2 out of 12. And here we bring it to the simplest form. Next. Again, we have two symbols over here. We have division and multiplication. Looks like it's left to right. Before we go left to right, I was thinking to simplify some of the fractions. 4 out of 2 can be rewritten as 2 wholes. 6 out of 9 can be rewritten as 2 out of 3. Okay, now next, let me do KCF on this portion here first. On the division, I will end up with 2 times 2 out of 3 times 2 out of 3. Next, left to right. Let me work out this portion first. I have 4 out of 3 times 2 out of 3. And final answer, 8 out of 9. Next. Brackets. Looks like we have to resolve what's within the bracket here. So I will leave -2 as it is. And I'm going to do KCF on 56 divided by 7 out of 3. Okay, so from here, I'll copy down -2. 56 and 7, I could do a cancellation. So if I divide both sides by 7, I will end up with 8 times 3, which is 24. So finally, -2 multiplied by 24, I will get -48. Finally, for question B, looks like I will have to multiply first. So let me multiply these two fractions. First step would be to change the fractions into an improper fraction. And let me simplify it. So 8 and 8, I can divide both sides. And I am left with let me now change 29 out of 25 into a mixed number. And okay, you realize that we have two mixed numbers. 2 out of 25 in the first fraction. I can't take away 4 out of 25. I need to regroup. To regroup 4 wholes, 2 and 25, it will be 3 wholes, 27 out of 25, take away 1 whole, 4 out of 25. And this will be my answer. Okay, so for those of you who wonder, how did I regroup my 4 wholes, 2 and 25? Let me show you how I did that. I regroup by dropping 1 whole from the whole number. So from 4, I drop to 3. Now, what happens to that 1 whole that I have taken away from the 4? I added it to 2 out of 25. So 1 whole makes 25 out of 25. I add 2 out of 25, I get 27 out of 25. Okay, in other words, if I were to take the numerator and denominator of the fraction, I add them together, this will be my new numerator. And that is how I regroup. All right, coming to the final portion of my sharing today is time zone variation. As you can see, this is the map of the world, and it is represented by many subdivisions. You see the words, the letters U, T, C here as well. Now let me share with you more about this. UTC stands for Coordinated Universal Time. And there are 24 time zones from UTC -11 to UTC +12. Time zones on a map look like that of a number line. Don't they remind you of a number line? Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at country A and country B. Country A is found in UTC -6. Okay, so if see a country A is somewhere here, right? So if I were to draw a line to the bottom number line, it will be at UTC -6. Country B is here. If I were to draw a line, it will be at UTC 1. So you can see that country B is ahead of country A. Because +1 is more than -6. So country B is ahead of country A. What else can we say about country A and country B? Country B is ahead of country A by a few hours, and let's see how many hours. So from -6 to 1, right? It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, okay? So country B is ahead by 7 hours as compared to country A. If we do not want to count by drawing an arrow, what we could do is, let's take this UTC +1 of country B. So country B is UTC 1, right? Country A is -6. So if you take the difference, 1, take away -6, we'll end up with 7. So this 7 refers to the 7 hours. 7 hours being ahead of country A. Likewise, if country B is 7 hours ahead of A, that means we can say that country A is 7 hours behind country B. Okay, so let's say if we were to, when country B is 8 a.m. Okay, what can we say about country A? 7 hours before, right? So 7 hours before 8 a.m., it will be 1 a.m. So this gives you an idea of time zone variation. Now let's take a look at country C and country D. Country C, -9. Wow. Country D, +10. So how many hours difference? So we can take 10, take away -9, that will be 19 hours difference. So someone in Australia, yeah, compared to someone in North America, the difference in time there would be, in these two places, would be 19 hours. That's really far apart, right? Not just that, time difference is also great. Yeah. Let's take a look next. If we have a particular country here at -7 UTC, and it's at 4 p.m. What about the time at this particular country X, where it is at UTC -4? So -4 compared to -7 would mean that it is ahead, right? We got to add the time. Add by how many hours? So you may wonder, from -7 to -4, that would be 3 hours. So 3 hours ahead of 4 p.m., that would be 7 p.m. So that's how we work out time zone variation. One more question. If we have a particular country here at time zone UTC +5, and we want to look at a country here, country Y at -4, what's the time? So let's see how many hours backwards. If we were to take the difference, 5, take away -4, that would be 9 hours. Wow, what is 9 hours before 1 a.m.? So let's consider drawing a timeline. So from 1 a.m. to 12 a.m., it will be 1 hour, right? And another, let's count 6 hours before 12 a.m., that would be 6 p.m. So this gives us 7. Another 2 hours, 4 p.m. So in country Y, the time would be 4 p.m. Well, we've come to the end of this short sharing. I apologize if there are hiccups every now and then. I'm still recovering from some cough and was recently down with COVID. But I hope that this short session is something that will be beneficial to you. And feel free to try the questions in here again and again. And if there are clarifications, please don't hesitate to get back to me. Also, I would like to ask of a favor from you to scan this QR code here so that I may get some feedback from you for future lessons. Thank you and God bless. Goodbye.